the thing. Ever since I turned 40, it's like when I bend over to like tie my shoes, I can't do that because I'm just not very flexible. And so that's why yoga is probably a really good thing. Greetings, Red Tie community. It's the bald guy in the red tie, John Butler, your favorite bald-headed red tie wearing realtor and show host. Your favorite red tie show host, because I'm the only red tie show host. That's right. And today we are going to be talking about people that aren't so limber, such as myself, that could probably use some yoga time. And we have Joy Murphy in the studio today with M Joy Yoga.
Yes, that's right. You got it right. Yay! Kind of a play on words and, incorporating my last name Murphy. So M Joy Yoga. Yeah, it kind of rolls on the tongue.
It really does. It has a nice flow to it.
Yes, just like flow yoga.
Yeah. So how did you get into yoga? Like, where did this all start from?
5 years ago, I actually was starting to do prenatal yoga, because that's what everybody and their mom says to do when you're pregnant. And I did it, and I was kind of like, I never really liked yoga. I just did it just because. And I ended up going from prenatal to like a power yoga to a heated yoga. And then it just went crazy from there, and I fell in love. It's just that mind-body connection you have on the mat, that you don't need to be super flexible, that you're actually gaining strength and flexibility while doing this exercise. And it being low impact, it's perfect to practice in well over your 70s, 80s, I mean.
That's awesome. How long have you been doing it?
5 years consistently. So I started 10 years ago, but you kind of get bored of the same old routine. And then I flew off of it. I was like, you know what? I need like a HIIT workout. I need a sweat like T95 or T25 or P90X, you know what I mean? And as I got older, I'm more in the yin stage. So I was at the yang stage before. Now I'm in the yin. I'm like, I need to slow it down. There's too much going on in the world. And so this is my way to disconnect and, find my own peace just for that hour, maybe 30 minutes of class. It's like magical. It's a yoga high, essentially. Yoga high.
So I've seen yoga on TV.
Yeah.
I hear everybody talking about it. It's a very hip thing over the past few decades.
Yes.
But I'm definitely one of those guys like, I'll just sit over here and watch you guys do it kind of thing. So open that world up to me. So what walk me through a yoga process. Like, how does that even work?
So it just depends on what you need. There's so many different types. And I think the version that you're probably most accustomed to seeing is a Vinyasa Flow. It's breath to movement, essentially. You go through a quick warm-up. Well, in my class specifically, you go through a warm-up where you're warming up the spine and the back. And then you go through the standing postures, and then maybe a balance or a back bend, just depending on who's in the class. And, it's different every time. I try to teach a class that's different and unique to the people that are in front of me versus just having a plan and then sticking to it. I'm not that type of person.
So you kind of just like, as the crowd gets together, you're like, okay, here's the vibe of it. Let's go for this.
Yes. Okay. The vibe, and also just the few minutes that you see people in the warm up, you get a really good idea of what type of participant is there. And so then I can tailor make it so that it's challenging, not too challenging, but also just not any old workout, because I think now Western culture feels that yoga is a workout, hence hot yoga. And yes, there's nothing wrong with that by all means, but there's more of a letting go process, I think, and being more humble with your body, like saying, okay, every day's a little bit different. Today, I don't want to go deeper in that back bend. So knowing yourself, really, it's, like I said, a humbling practice and just a way to really reconnect with yourself. Because in other ways, you're just, like you said, you're sitting on the couch, you're kind of going, well, all right, I'm just going to sit here for another hour and just chill. That's essentially what yoga does for some people, is it's their moment to chill, but exercise at the same time and stretch.
So it's a nice balance that doesn't have to be rushed or anything like that.
Exactly. You go at your own pace. Sometimes some teachers teach a little bit more quickly. So it really depends on who the person is and who the teacher is. So that's why it's so magical. You get to decide, like, okay, I'm going to go to this class at this hour with this teacher. If that person doesn't resonate with you, you go pick somebody else. There's no harm, no foul there. And that's why, I'm hoping to build the community that I built when I was in Diamond Bar, when I was in LA, here in Temecula.
So let's talk about that. So you made a transition recently from Diamond Bar, that area.
Yeah.
So when did you come out here to Temecula?
I think I'm at my 2-month mark. So I'm
so
really,
you're
really
fresher.
brand new.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how long were you over in Diamond Bar?
So I actually lived in Monterey Park, which is part of East LA. Diamond Bar is off the 60 freeway, kind of close to Chino Hills. And so that was the only gym that was open for classes. So I worked, I did the commute, which is about 30 minutes. And it took a while to build that following, but with persistence and just honing my craft, I gained a following, and I'm hoping to do that here because it's so important to have a community, even if it's not just family. You just build your own family in whatever place you go to. Did I even answer your question? I'm not really sure.
You nailed it. And it was a great plug for the red tie community. All right. So yeah, community is absolutely vital, I think, just to our existence as humanity. And so what's interesting about doing some sort of a group activity is there really is this kind of a connection that does happen.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think more and more, especially also being a mom, it's hard and it's lonely at times. And if you have something outside of being a mom, you feel much more balanced. You feel more like yourself. And that's another thing, too. I totally want moms to feel comfortable in whatever space they're at, whether it be with me or somebody else. That's another thing about community that I'd love to bring together.
So how old are your kids?
I have a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2.5.
Oh, so you're busy.
I'm busy. It's always a new adventure every day.
Yep. So do they do yoga?
They have practiced with me. I have a bunch of pictures with them. I used to record because I was hoping to kind of gain an online following of moms doing yoga together. It's really difficult, I have to tell you, because it's a lot of interruptions. It's a lot of crying, like people grabbing on hold of you. So it was hard for a tiny bit, but they love to get in there with me. You kind of lead by example. So they see what you're doing. They're like, oh, I want to do yoga too. So, yeah.
And that's a fun age.
It is. It's fun and it's hard. It's like a mix of both.
I have 3 kids as well, but they're all like teenagers now, basically. And so that's a whole other ballgame. But that 0 to 5, you're just trying to keep them alive and make sure they don't flip on themselves and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Teenagers is a whole other ballgame. I'm like trying to enjoy the space that I'm at right now, but it gets really difficult at times when they're testing your patience. And that's, again, a reason why I practice yoga, because there's a time where you come back to your breath, and there's this super silly song that one of the lyrics, I'll never forget it, and my kids like think about it too, is like, oh, I stop, I close my eyes, and I take a deep breath. And that's what you do in yoga. And so them teaching that mindfulness at such a young age, I think it'll help with whatever's going on
No, that's
in their
awesome.
lives. Yeah.
That's cool. So have any of your followers from Diamond Bar come out here or anything like that?
No, not yet. And I'm actually trying to work with a winery or some outdoor farm or something to host a retreat in Temecula. Still shopping around because I'm searching for the right place to do it at.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that maybe somebody out there sees this and then go, hey, I like her vibe. I wanna help her out. So once I have that retreat planned for next year, I'm hoping to invite my following down in Diamond Bar to come down and then see what Temecula has to offer, because it's beautiful. It is. There's so many things to do. Like you would never know. Like an hour away from San Diego is this place. So.
Well, and that's the exciting part. So, obviously I sell real estate here in this area, and but it's a lot of San Diego and Orange County people coming into Temecula because they're like, oh, wow, what is this little bubble here? And so it's nice. It's beautiful here with all the wineries. So it's kind of got that upper scale feel to it, you know, that vibe.
Yes.
So, so that's pretty neat. I can imagine how awesome the yoga would be at a winery. That would be rad.
And I'm not the first person. It's not my idea. I've seen other people do it. But I definitely want it to be more of a focus of you're coming to reset and then you can have some wine versus we're drinking while we're doing yoga, which for me, I mean, I could do it, but I'd rather not, you know what I mean?
You gotta have that reward at the end of the process.
Exactly, separate it. Yeah. So I even thought about breweries too. That would be something awesome to do at a brewery because I know Temecula's got breweries, right? So So kind of just a mix of helping small businesses out too. I feel like that could be the give and take, you know, you help me, I help you, build awareness for each other. Another way to build community all together, right? So
no, that's fantastic. And those are always the best marketing plans at work is when it's a win-win for everybody involved.
Yeah,
so
of course, really cool. Of course.
So what brought you down here to Temecula? Like, what was that driving force there?
So my husband works in biotech. And everything biotech is in San Diego. So he was working in Orange County. And so the commute is actually pretty similar going to Orange County or to San Diego. And he was looking for some different work. And he finally landed a job. He works in Solana Beach. And so a happy medium for us to not be fully in San Diego was Temecula, and the schools here are amazing. I mean, the park systems, it's very family oriented, and you're still close to everything else. Like you're an hour basically from LA, from Orange County. Even Julian isn't too far away, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So the beaches, I mean, we love the beaches. So
Palm Springs on the other side of the hill.
Exactly, like Indio. So, I mean, what was there not to like go for? You know, it's a new adventure for us, and the wineries. Obviously, okay, I'm not gonna lie, we like just having that option of being able to go drive 10 minutes away, and we're at the wineries. So it's amazing.
Yep, we have a little slice of heaven here.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Great community.
I don't want too many people to know, though.
Yeah,
this
well,
little
it's happening.
Secret.
But if you do want to move, you call me, Ballguard in the Red Tie, and I'll help you. I'll help you. So you're really starting from not necessarily ground zero because you already built that up, but it's like a fresh new book. It's almost like a sequel to your first book kind of deal, right?
Yeah, so, that's a good way to put it. That is a good way.
The 2.0 Temecula version.
Yes.
Of Joy.
Yes.
And so if we can get you connected with a winery or a cool establishment, that'd be good. Okay.
Yeah, even a restaurant, I definitely love my different varieties of food. So I even thought about a restaurant that has a really nice patio, the one by the duck pond, perhaps.
Yeah, Oscar's Brewing Company. Yeah, that's actually the first one I was thinking of. Yeah,
it's beautiful over there, and you have the duck pond. So I've thought about approaching them with like a little plan. I honestly, if anybody wants to connect with me to brainstorm ideas, I mean, I love to also collaborate with other businesses, not just, a place that would mind hosting, but, collaborate. Why not?
I just see it, the way my marketing mind works is I try to put pieces together, right?
Yeah,
it's like a puzzle piece. And I think you can fit into so many different areas.
Exactly.
We do have that young family kind of vibe here in Temecula. We got the wineries, the breweries, beautiful locations. So there's a lot to work with.
Yes.
So I think you have a lot of good opportunities ahead of you.
I know. Awesome. I'm really excited. And once the new year comes, it's going to be so much to do. So I'm gearing for it right now. I know. It's really, Christmas is around the corner and then the new year. It's 2022 already. I can't believe it.
I know. I'm still got my 2020 hangover, right? Like, oh my gosh, so many things happen in the world. And then you're like, oh my God, where'd 21 go?
I
Just
know.
flew by.
It really did fly by. And I count my blessings because this year wasn't too bad. I mean, it could have been worse. So I just hope for more to come. More
I think 2020 was just so weird that 21 just had to be quiet, and it was just kind of nice, so that was good.
Yes, mellow. I like mellow.
Find your yin and the yang.
Yes,
get that balance.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
That was so cool. Well, I think you got a lot of good things ahead of you. So I'm glad that you're here and you got this gift of yoga, and maybe a 40-year-old person such as myself that been sitting on the couch. It looks interesting. I want to try it.
No, totally try it with me. Not only it's flow yoga, but I work with biomechanics, and I also study with physical therapists in that line of work, because injury, usually a lot of people come to me with injuries, and so I want to prevent further damage. So that's another thing too, like with sports athletes. They're starting to incorporate yoga into their training because it's for injury prevention, not just the stretching aspect. So just another thing to think about for people out there who think like, nah, I don't want to do yoga. Sports athletes are doing it now. It's like a big deal.
I'm not sure if you're into this world that much, but here locally, there's a lot of the motocross, the dirt bikes and supercross and all those kind of guys.
Yeah.
And they put their bodies through so much abuse, and they need that flexibility and agility and all that kind of stuff.
They do.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you don't have to be like a certain person even to practice yoga, because there's always a way to modify it. And it's not, I think the misconception too is that it's only for chicks. It's not, because back in India, way back when it started, yoga was used for young men. I'm going to probably butcher the wording, but they wanted young men to gain strength and flexibility and work on their ego, essentially, and just exercise the brain and the body. So it was really only for men to practice. It wasn't until, it came along to the West Side, that Western culture, that we now can practice it. So we have a lot of people to thank for that.
Yoga has a funny history, doesn't it?
It does.
It started off in very ancient times.
It does.
And now when I think of yoga, I think of the Target mom with the yoga pants, and then, the Starbucks, and, the hair in the ponytail.
It is.
Okay, so I'm not wrong in my assumption.
It is. Okay. It's targeted towards them, because I think moms need that balance the most, to be quite honest. It gets to be pretty crazy when you're holed up with however many kids you have, and you have one screaming, the other one's going the other way, or you have an only child who needs you 24/7. But don't discount the fact that men also who have a high stress job, or women who have high stress jobs, need to unwind too, and just find their balance in the world where it's not always work. There's a little play in between, right? The work hard, play hard mentality. So I want to help people find that balance. Yeah. Whether it be with me or somebody else. I mean, at least I can guide them toward where they need to go.
I think that's probably almost an underlying issue in society of why society is so weird nowadays. Yeah. Is I think people are not balanced.
Yes.
And when you're not balanced, you overreact, you're emotional, you get into arguments that shouldn't be arguments or whatever, because you're just at such a 10 all the time. Mm-hmm. But if you could be at that 5 level, your ship won't rock too much to one side or the other. Yeah,
that's mindful of you to say. Yeah. Are you sure you haven't been practicing some yoga? Maybe just unconsciously been practicing.
So my big thing lately has been float tanks. I love those things. So we have a float tank in Temecula. Okay. So shout out to FloatX in Temecula. But
I'm gonna have to go. I've heard wonderful things.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm definitely a cerebral type person, very in my head kind of thing. So unplugging has been a very good thing.
I like that word, unplugging. Yeah.
Well, your brain is taking on so much all the time, and especially in a world of social media and so much,
Tell me about it. Yeah.
Division and stuff like that. You always feel like you're in this static electricity kind of world.
Yes.
And it's so important to just unplug and find your flow.
It's so true.
And enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Plug.
He knows it.
I can be your marketing assistant.
You should.
Yeah, there
you should, because social media, I tell you have to plan a lot. And as much of a planner as I am, it drains you. It can drain you. So,
Well, because you could be like, all right, I'm just going to check and see if I have any messages. Okay, no messages, but then, oh, so-and-so just got a new car. Okay, and then 2 hours later, you're in the rabbit hole looking up conspiracy theories and what happened in the world.
You just keep clicking and clicking and clicking, and
it's
then
a
you're.
Weird thing.
It is very weird.
And as humans, we're not really wired for that.
No, I don't think so. Not for that period for that length of time anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this has really all happened in the past 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I remember.
So our brains aren't like evolved to take all this stuff in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I remember. I mean, AOL, like, has that aged me?
Yeah. I'm an AOL baby too. Yeah.
Instant Messenger, all of that stuff. I remember. I'm like, we only were typing like on the computer. We weren't texting or. Yeah, so I can't imagine what my kids or your kids, I mean, are kind of in the thick of it, but how advanced the technology is going to go. It blows my mind. And I'm actually quite scared a little.
I guess that's every generation, right?
Yeah, there's always something new.
I was thinking about this is, we yell at our kids about getting on their cell phones and devices and stuff, but I'm sure back when the publishing press was created and then books were a thing, because back then it was about, farming the land and you got to work sun up to sundown. You don't have time to be reading a book. What are you doing? Right? So that family a couple hundred years ago was probably like that. Like, get that book out of your hands. You're going to rot your brain.
Right.
You got to work on the farm.
Yeah. How our society has grown so much.
It's wild. And then, you got Zuckerberg wanting to do the metaverse or 3D, like this is like Star Trek type stuff, right? You go into a room and then everything's just there.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Are we almost reliving or trying to live the Matrix? I know
it's happening.
Keanu, he's coming out with that next film, so
they're dropping hints.
I know, right? Yeah. Very subtly, kind of, not really.
Yeah, it's a wild world, but it's important to find balance. And
yes.
I think you are a shining light of that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming and inviting me to come here.
Absolutely. Well, that's what the community is all about because, I was referred to you by Patty Donnelly, who is my dentist and aunt.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, this lovely young lady, she moved down to Temecula and she does yoga and I really think you should have her on your show. I'm like, okay. It's not that hard to be on the show, folks. So just reach out if you want to be on the show.
I know. I know. Thank you to Patty or else this wouldn't have happened, really, honestly.
Shout out to Patty. Well, any final thoughts you'd like to share with the community and maybe how people can get connected with you?
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely. So, hi. My name is Joy Murphy, and you can find me actually on Instagram. I'm on there. I'm on the gram at mjoyyoga. If you do some underscores, it's mjoy_yoga. I had to think about it. I'm sorry. And then you can also reach me on Google if you'd like. Just look up Joy Murphy Yoga or mjoy yoga. You'll find me. I'm in the Temecula area. Give a shout out. I don't know. Any questions? I'm kind of an open book about yoga or anything about mom life, really. So
I think it's a good mix.
Yeah.
Yoga and mom life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not necessarily my target market, but it just happens to be that way.
Hey, there's a lot of moms that need some yoga. They need some balance.
I know, right?
And dads.
Yes, and dads too. Don't forget the dads.
Do family yoga days. There
yes, at the winery.
At the winery.
Hint,
hint. Apple juice for the kids, wine for the parents.
Exactly. It'll be a fun time for all.
Well, Joy, thank you so much for bringing joy to the studio here today and helping us find balance in your enjoyable yoga. So there you go.
Man, you're hilarious.
And that concludes this episode of the Red Tie Community with John Butler, the bald guy in the red tie, and Joy Murphy from Enjoy Yoga. So make sure you check her out on Instagram and make sure you go do some yoga, find your balance, and enjoy your life. Yes. That's it. Bye-bye.
Bye.